Hmm. Very, 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 very interesting because we had a nice conversation with a couple of people. I'm not going to say their names, but when you see the video come out on their channels, you have a pretty good idea. And we had a nice conversation with them about their experiences with the Charger Daytona. And I was watching a video from TK's Garage, who was basically saying the same thing, where John Elkin was not exactly too happy about some of the reviews with the Charger Daytona. And so I want to basically give my kind of 2 cents about that particular thing. And you can see some of the things I said in the video that comes out on other people's channel and stuff. But I want to kind of elaborate on some things I would have wished I would have said. And we're going to talk about that in this video about the Charger Daytona. It's that time of year again where you need to save as much money as you can to buy the gifts for everyone else and including yourself. So my friends at Just Bolt-Ons and Drag Racing Wheels have you covered. In case you need anything like exhaust systems, sticky Mickeys, catch cans, tonneau covers, whatever, my friends at Just Bolt-Ons and Drag Racing Wheels have some of the best prices online. And with my promo code BUTTER that you use at checkout, you can save up to an additional 15% off on your next order. So check out my friends at Just Bolt-Ons, DragRacingWheels.com, where some of the best prices online just got a little bit better. Cool, got a Charger. Well, I'm over 38,000 friends, and the 65% of you guys now subscribe. Now, I'm not gonna spoil too much stuff that we were talking about in the video that's gonna coming out on, let's say, a couple of interesting guys channel, which I'm pretty sure you guys know who they are if you are really paying attention. But one thing I want to say with the Charger Daytona is I can understand why there's a lot of bad reviews with that vehicle, because you have a bunch of people in this company who are developing an EV that don't necessarily know how to develop EVs. Now, there's one thing that Rich Rebuild said on his channel is that for people who really like EVs, this Charger Daytona is not EV enough. And people who actually like Dodge, this particular vehicle is not Dodge enough. And it may ride a certain way, it may look a certain way, but I mean, to me, honestly, it's just not what particular customers of this genre wanted to actually have. And so one thing I would say is, the problem with Charger Daytona, I'm not even gonna get into propulsion yet. Let's just talk about the names. Now, the Charger Daytona, okay, I can understand using Charger Daytona name because you wanted that, you know, have an iconic name and the whole R-Wing and all that stuff. But the problem with the Charger Daytona is that it's a Charger Daytona Scat Pack. It's a Charger Daytona RT. Is for one thing, I don't think that Dodge should have put the iconic Scat Pack and RT names on the EV vehicles in the first place. And so this is one thing that I hope Matt, the new CEO of Dodge, and John Elkin, you guys will kind of reconsider on naming these EVs after iconic drivetrains that were the 392 and the 5.7. Like taking those names and slapping on the EV and jacking the prices up like $20,000 from the typical prices that people normally are used to seeing from those nameplates is already sending sticker shock to people. Because if you tell me that an $85,000 Scat Pack is going to be on a dealership lot within 3 months, any person who just basically just heard that, oh, it's an $85 Scat Pack when they call a dealer, $85,000. I mean, a Scat Pack was like in the 50s just a year or two ago. Oh, well, this is an EV and it's about the same speed as a Hellcat. Well, Hellcats were like $60,000 just 5-10 years ago. So it's like, it doesn't make any sense to use those names for a vehicle that people already have a sense of how much money that particular nameplate should cost. And so to me personally, I think that one thing that Matt and Dodge should really reconsider, and John Elkin reconsider, is taking the name of RT and Scat Pack off of the EV. Now, they probably won't necessarily be able to do it right now because they already had these vehicles built and all this other stuff. But honestly, to me, they should put the Scat Pack name on the six bangers. The high output should be the high output 6-pack, and the standard output 6-pack should be the RT. and then the GT should be the Pentastar version of that particular trim. And I think that would be a lot better option. Now, I know right now this is like the 0 hour and they got to get these cars to the dealership the next few days to few weeks. And so I think that honestly, they should basically just put a little asterisk on the name and put Scat Pack E on the daggone window sticker and put RTE on the window sticker for these particular cars, because I just don't like the fact that they're Scat Pack EVs, and Scat Packs were really just a budget vehicle that a lot of people can get into, that a lot of people loved. I mean, pretty much Tim Knissen saw that once they changed the name from SRT 392 to Scat Pack, that people just bought the vehicles like that. And this is like basically going from SRT 392 to Scat Pack to, yeah, no one's gonna buy Scat Pack anymore. You basically just tarnish the name of Scat Pack. So I want to say that I think one thing that could kind of turn around the fortune of a Charger Daytona is if they change the names, make a Scat Pack E, RTE, GTE, like put a smaller E right there for electric, and get rid of the whole six banger name, the six pack, because it's gonna sound real goofy. Hey, can I get the Charger? Can I get the Challenger? Challenger? Can I get the Charger six pack? Oh, which six pack you want? The high or the low? I'm going like, whoever thought that was a good name? I mean, it's obviously like somebody who didn't necessarily want to come out with engines thought to put six pack. I mean, so I mean you got an HO six pack and an SO six pack. I don't even know even the names of it, because no one's really put those names in priority of the Scat Pack and RT. So I'm just thinking that, you know, one thing they can do to change the name or change the favor of these cars is actually change the naming convention. Because honestly, to me, if you're going to go cold turkey on actual V8s, where to be the RT, the Scat Pack, the Hellcat, the Red Eye, the Super Stock, and the D170, that next year you better come out with a range topping car that makes people forget those cars even existed. And this RT and the Scat Pack is not it. And it just goes to show, when you got a bunch of reviewers who are basically on the same mind that this car is not Dodge enough and it's not EV enough, you're in this gray area to where this car is just not living up to the hype that Dodge wanted it to be. Like I said, I haven't driven one. I have not seen one in person. I was supposed to go and be out there to review one, but I'm just giving my personal opinion just from looking at the stuff that I researched. I researched this car for over 2 years. I've seen all the reviews about this car, and you can tell some of the reviewers who were trying to basically kiss Dodge's butt cheeks compared to the ones that were just keeping it real. And there's not enough reviews from people who kiss Dodge's butt cheeks compared to the ones that are keeping it real. They kind of told you about how not EV and not Dodge enough this car is. It's a nice driving car, but it's like, you know, one thing that we said in the daggone live stream is this is a very expensive car that you can't do much with. You can't necessarily go out of town with it because the car doesn't know where any of the EV chargers are at, because it doesn't map you to the local EV charger station. And it's like $80,000 for a Scat Pack that, you know, some person said that, hey, you know, this is a nice car that I would drive around town. $80,000 is a lot of money for a car to just drive around town. And that's just ridiculous when you can go and buy like a Tesla Model 3 or, you know, a Model S for like $20,000-$30,000, and you can get the whole same around town feeling and still go out of town because they got access to a charger network. So that's one issue I had with Charger Daytona, is the actual naming convention. I didn't need to change the naming convention. The second thing I touched on real briefly is the price. The price of this car is way too much, because one of the guys who reviewed this car said that the car on its winter sticker was $85,000 or $86,000 for a Scat Pack. Now, that is way too expensive. You can go literally right now and go buy a brand new Model S Plaid for around $90,000. For $5,000 more, you can literally buy a brand new Model S Plaid that would decimate this Charger Daytona and not even think twice. The Charger Daytona, I saw in the video, someone tested at 3.4 seconds, 0 to 60. A Charger Daytona will get absolutely destroyed by a Tesla Model S Plaid, because a Model S Plaid can do a 0 to 60 in like right around 2 seconds, depending if you subtract rollout or not. But But yeah, it's just crazy how these cars are within such a close proximity of how much they cost. And I mean, and the bad part about it is this is with stage kits installed. The top level model of this car with 2 stage kits already installed is just that much worse than the Model S Plaid, and especially in performance. And that's supposed to be $5,000 off from it in price. And I mean, I just won't even get really into the RT portion of it, because the RT portion is already too expensive. It's like they literally need to drop the price of these cars by almost $20,000 in order for them to actually get into the ballpark where they're actually attracted to buy. They're just way too expensive. And so that's the price part of why I think this car is not very attractive for people to buy. The next part of it is technology. Now, the technology in the car, literally every reviewer who actually gave you their honest opinion all said that the technology in this car is behind par. Like Rich Rebuild said that this car is launching in 2024 with 2018 technology. And so if it can't do something as simple as mapping the current locations of the charger network, that's a problem. Because if they think that people it really only gonna ever charge at home, that means you cannot take this car on a road trip and you're going to be dealing with that nonsense. Like, honestly, you know, if Dodge already had a relationship, well, what to say, if FCA already had a relationship with Tesla to buy emissions credits for them, they should have went and had a relationship with them to like, hey, how much would it cost for us to get access to your charger network? Because your charger network is literally everywhere. Most of the Sheetz gas stations I see around here have Tesla superchargers right there at the gas station. And I really don't see many of other third-party EV chargers wherever I go. I might see one EV charger maybe at a complex somewhere. I maybe see one EV charger here. I may see one EV charger there. But the only time I see like a big charging area is Tesla superchargers. And so really any company that does not try to get access to Tesla's charging network, I think you're just asking for it, because you're not going to be accessible to charge, and people are going to rely on getting to and from home to actually charge the vehicles. So that's another problem with just, you know, technology. They can't map where you can go charge at. It doesn't necessarily have like all this self-driving stuff that I think that I would like, because I mean, Tesla really has everybody beat, that you can literally be in your driveway, push a button and get navigated where you want to, and then you can summon your car and stuff. As far as I can tell, you cannot summon your Charger Daytona anywhere. The hands-free driving, I haven't seen anyone really say or review on their videos hands-free driving where you can let go of the steering wheel and just relax and just let the car drive for you, other than maybe, you know, hands-free assistant or whatever. But that's another thing. Literally, you can get a $30,000 to $40,000, you know, Tesla Model 3 that can do that, and this car can't. So I think by the next cycle refresh, like Dodge should honestly, or Slash should honestly buy a couple of Tesla vehicles, see what they do well, and actually go and actually try to mimic that. Because I mean, I think one person said that they don't think that you can even sit in the car really to do like multimedia stuff like you could in a Tesla, where you can sit down there and, you know, let your wife go shopping and stuff, and you sit there in the car while you watching TV and all this other stuff. So technology, I think, is one next thing that's like not really on par with the Charger Daytona. And then skipping past technology, if you get into performance, the performance in this car is just not really, from me just, you know, looking at it from people who's actually reviewing this car, the performance is not there. I mean, one thing that I noticed is a lot of people were saying that the Charger Daytona had a delay when you stepped on the gas pedal. I mean, there should not really be that much of a delay if it's a car that's mainly powered by software. I mean, everything is done by software. You're not waiting on an engine to get enough air that actually push you forward, or a transmission that's out of gear. You're literally driving an electric vehicle that has power going directly to an electric motor. So there should not really be a delay. And then you saw on, like, I think Throttle House's video where they were saying that when they was driving a Charger Daytona Scat Pack, it felt faster in auto mode than it did in like drag mode or track mode or whatever. And that just software issues. And so the lady who was in charge of software, she effectively quit. And this car has been riddled with so many software problems. Like, this car was supposed to come out summer of 2023. And here we are New Year's Eve, and this car is still not being released yet. So there's gotta be a reason why this car is pushed back for 6 months, right? There's only so many things, and you can kind of see with all these reviews that the software is not there on point yet. I mean, I know TK's talked about where some of these vehicles are having battery issues, where some of these cars are left people stranded and they got to have the strings at the back of the hatch, so they can pop the daggone hatch so they can actually get back into the vehicle to reset the 12-volt battery in there. So that just goes to show you that there's basically software issues and stuff. So when this car launches, will all those issues be fixed, or will this car be kind of like how the 2022 TRX came out with? The 2022 TRX, a lot of those trucks radios did not work, or they was having buggy issues, and they had to go through over a year of software updates to fix the radio. So will the Charger Daytona, will it launch with either recalls or software updates that you got to do, and you just spent $80,000 for a car that wasn't necessarily working properly when you bought it? So that's gonna be a very big question of what's gonna happen with this car when it launches. And so, and you know, just to get back to performance and stuff, this car, if you don't buy this car this first year, next year it's gonna be slower, like really slow, because the scat pack that they reviewed was 3.4 seconds with 2 stage kits already installed. You remove those 2 stage kits, how fast will this car actually be without those stage kits installed? That's one question that, you know, if I was actually invited to the, like I said, I was invited to the event, but I necessarily didn't get my invitation to finally go and get actually there. That'll be one thing that I wanted to ask those engineers, is how fast these cars will be in year 2, because the RT, it only has stage kit 1 installed, and we know the 060 in that car. The Scat Pack had 2 stage kits installed. We know how fast that car is. It can barely keep up with a Model 3 performance in a Honda Ioniq N or get beat by it. So when those 2 stage kits get taken out those cars in year 2, is everyone gonna be of the opinion that this car, the Scat Pack, gonna be really worse because it cannot even keep up with, let's just say, not even a Model 3 performance? What if it can't even keep up with a regular Model 3 long range, or, you know, not even a Honda Ioniq N performance type vehicle? What if it can't even keep up with like the base model of those cars, right? Like, is that going to be like, you know, people going to really be pissed off at how bad this car is, and it's still like, let me go look at the base price of a Scat Pack. Let's see, the 2024 Dodge Charger Daytona RT will have an MSRP of $60,000, and the Dodge Daytona Scat Pack, which leads the 2024 Charger lineup and retains the title as the world's quickest and most powerful muscle car, will start with an MSRP of $73,190, which excludes the $2,000 for the destination price. So the question is, next year, will that freaking base price go up $1,000, $2,000? Because typically every year your base price of your car goes up every year. And so will the base price of these cars go up another couple $1,000s without the stage kits installed? Like, they're going to really take those 2 stage kits off those cars and still charge you like so if the Scat Pack is going to be $73,000, well, really $75,000 without the stage kits installed. Is the base price for the Scat Pack next year going to be around $76,000 or $77,000 with 0 stage kits, and the 0-60 is around 4 seconds? That's a lot of money for a slow EV. A lot of money for slow EV. So it's like, man, like, I don't know what Dodge is really thinking, or Stellantis really thinking, but the Charger Daytona is just not going to be a very attractive buy for people. Like, I want to see, because I gotta go see when Windsor, where they make this car at, I want to see when Windsor is actually going to actually retool over for the next model year of Charger Daytona. I want to see how much money the base price of that car is going to be, and I want to see exactly how slow the car is going to be when they take the stage kits off those cars. Like, me, honestly, Dodge, if I was you guys, I would eliminate the stage kit nonsense keep those stage kits on those cars, because it should not even be a question that we should have to go to direct connection to go and buy a code to unlock our cars with power that's already built into the car. That was already like one thing that I'm like, this does not make any sense. At least with a stage kit for the current cars, you gotta get a thermostat change, you gotta get a air filter change, you gotta get a pulley swapped, right? At least those are actual parts that has to be added to your car. Only thing needs to be added to your car when you go buy a stage kit is a code. You put a code in your radio and you can unlock that power. So really, it's like there should be no reason that the car shouldn't come at full power, other than the fact that someone wanted to be cheap and charge more money for that car. And so I'm just saying that I just, if Dodge thought this is bad now, the way people perceive this car now, wait until next year when those stage kits get removed and then you got to add them back again. How much the car's gonna cost then? Whoo, boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. But that's just what I want to say about the Charger Daytona. I'm definitely gonna make another video because I definitely see this one's getting a little too long. And so I definitely want to talk to you guys about the Wagoneer S and the Charger Daytona and how those two cars are going to clash on dealership lots next year. But let me know what you guys think. Should Dodge get rid of the naming convention of the Charger Daytonas, Scat Pack and RT? Should they just make them Scat Pack E's and RTE and GTE? Should they get rid of the whole 6-pack names and basically make them Scat Packs and RTs and GTs? Should Dodge get rid of this nonsense with the stage kits and leave them attached to the car? Should Dodge drop the prices on these cars and actually make them more attractive? Because I think there's going to be a lot of rebates if people think that if Dodge and these people are going to buy these cars. But let me know what you guys think. And until the next time, I'm out.